Of every scam in this book, this one steals the most money in a single stroke. Not hundreds or thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Gone in one wire transfer. Often a person's entire proceeds from selling a home, or their whole down payment. It targets people at one of the biggest financial moments of their lives, closing on a house. Here's how it happens. You're in the middle of buying or selling a home. Emails are flying between you, your real estate agent, the title or escrow company, the lender. Then, close to your closing date, an email arrives that looks exactly like the others. Same names, same details, right property address, right dollar amount. With your wire instructions, where to send your funds, you wire the money as told, and it goes straight to a criminal, never to be seen again. Here's the one rule that stops the catastrophe. Any wire instructions you receive by email must be confirmed by phone, on a number you obtained independently, before you send a single dollar. Treat every change or update to wire instructions as fraud until you've verified it by voice. Because the emails in this scam are nearly flawless, you cannot rely on the email itself looking right. The only reliable defense is to pick up the phone. Call the title company or escrow officer at a number you already have from earlier paperwork, not from the email, and confirm the wire instructions out loud before wiring. Every legitimate closing professional expects and welcomes this call. A scammer's instructions won't survive it. Now you might think I'd spot a fake. With this scam, often you wouldn't, and it's important to understand why, so you respect the danger. Criminals quietly break into or monitor one of the email accounts in your transaction. The agents, the title companies, sometimes yours, and then they watch, silently, for weeks. They read the real emails. They learn your closing date, the exact amount, the people's names, the property address, the professional lingo. Then, right before closing, they send updated wire instructions that fit seamlessly into the real conversation, sometimes even replying within the actual email thread. Everything is correct, except the account number, which is theirs. That's why it looked completely legitimate is the norm, not the exception. You cannot outtread these emails. You can only out-verify them with a phone call. Now verify every time, but be especially alarmed by these red flags. Any last-minute change to wire instructions, or an email saying the account changed, was updated, or the first one won't work. Legitimate wire instructions rarely change. A change is a giant red flag. Urgency, wire today or we'll lose the closing. Pressure is the scammer's friend. A slightly different email address, one letter off from the real one. But note, sometimes the email comes from a genuinely hacked real account, so a correct address is not proof of safety. And that last point is why the phone verification isn't optional, even when nothing looks wrong. So here's what to do. Before wiring anything, call to confirm the instructions by voice, using a phone number from your signed paperwork or a number you looked up, never a number from the wire instructions email. Confirm the exact account name and number with the escrow officer verbally. Treat any change, update, or urgency around wire instructions as fraud until proven otherwise by that call. And if you've already wired and suspect fraud, act within hours, not days. Call your bank immediately to request a wire recall. Call the receiving bank and report to the FBI at ic3.gov right away. Their recovery team has a real chance of freezing funds if you're fast. Time is everything. Here's what I'd do. I would treat wire instructions the way I'd treat handing a stranger my life savings, because that's exactly what's at stake. No matter how perfect the email looked, no matter that it replied inside the real thread with all the right details. I would not wire a cent until I'd called the title company on a number from my signed documents and heard a real person confirm the account, out loud. And I'd be most alert to the word changed. An email saying the wire instructions were updated is, to me, a fire alarm. Real instructions don't casually change at the last minute. I'd call to verify even the original instructions, and I'd call again for any change, every single time, because one phone call is nothing against the loss of everything. So let's practice. You're closing on a house Friday. Thursday, an email in your closing thread says, "Please note, our wire instructions have been updated. Use the new account below, and wire today to stay on schedule." Run the alarms. A last-minute change to wire instructions plus urgency. Fraud until proven otherwise. You do not wire. Instead, you call the title company on the number from your signed paperwork and ask, "Did your wire instructions change?" They say, "No, do not use that. You just caught a scam." One phone call, and you kept your entire down payment.